Well, I think we'd be crazy not to talk about the State of the Union last night. Did you watch it? I watched most of it. And even though this is not going to be solely a political show, we absolutely have to talk about the State of the Union. One of the things that I was always taught is you don't ever talk about politics and you never talk about religion. Well, I'm going to be talking about politics and I'm going to be talking about religion. I took a couple of notes here. I wanted to first take note of the fact that something that really stuck out to me is how immature the Democrats that were in the audience seemed. Now, love Trump, hate Trump. I think if you are an American citizen, matter of fact, if you're a human being in the world, you should be hoping and praying for the success of the American president, whether you voted for him or not. He's still the president. He's going to be in office for 4 years. I voted for President Trump. I voted for him the first time, I voted for him the second time, and I voted for him the third time. And the second time, when Biden was elected, I was not hoping for the demise of him as a president because that directly impacts not just the United States, but the world. So when I watch the State of the Union and feel joy knowing that the candidate that I voted for is actually in office, able to enact the change that I hope happens in my country and in the world, I'm happy. But I remember feeling not so happy when the last president was in office, but I certainly wasn't cheering and hoping for him to not be successful. And when you watch the State of the Union, it's got all of the Senate in there, and the room is divided, right? You got one, it's like being at a wedding. It's like the groom's side and the bride's side. And you have one side of the room, it's all of these Republicans, and of course they're cheering and they're excited and they're smiling. And the other side of the room is all of the Democrats. And first of all, they all dressed in a color. I don't know. Did you watch, Paige? Did you watch this?
No, I didn't watch it.
Okay. Well, that's probably very standard for the Gen Zs. They didn't watch. But I will tell you, Gen X has watched. We watched, and we were watching with anticipation because this is way earlier than a normal it's not even supposed to be a State of the Union because he's only been in the office for, less than 60 days at this point.
Month.
Yeah. And so they were all wearing a color that represented something. And they had these little signs that they, and they never clapped, which obviously they all got together as a group and decided like, we're not going to show anything but just disdain and disgust. Fine. But here's what really, first of all, that's immature. That's immature to me as a party. I felt very not represented in the last administration, and felt like here I pay all these taxes. Everywhere we go, we are taxed, and I'm not being represented. So it's taxation without representation, which I felt for 4 years very heavily. But okay, so put your politics aside for a second, and put the fact that you hate Trump. He's the worst guy ever. Put it to the side. When Trump was talking about American citizens that he brought into his State of the Union to either edify or just talk about when it comes to something that he implemented in his administration, maybe a new law or just a new policy, for the Democrats to not clap for American citizens, that's where it really gets me. Okay, don't like Trump, but do you actually like Americans? Do you have so much disdain for the president that you're actually going to take that hatred for him and you're going to transfer it on to the American people that you're supposed to be representing? Because whether you are a Republican or a Democrat or a libertarian or an independent or whatever, if you are in office, you represent everybody in your delegation, not just the people that are in the party that you represent. So that's really the thing that got to me more than anything. I'm sure you're going to see clips on the internet about some of the things that happened.
Oh yeah, it's already going around a little bit, but it's not like obviously full clips.
It's not full clips, but there was a little boy, a 13-year-old boy that was on there who had brain cancer, and he was there with his father, and he had been given. He had been deputized by some different police departments because he loves law enforcement. And last night on the State of the Union, Trump actually made him a Secret Service agent, which was really, really cool. And they weren't even clapping for that. I'm so baffled, and I am disgusted by the immature behavior And when I look at somebody like Paige, or anybody that is, in the Gen Z generation, and they see that behavior, it is an embarrassment. It is an embarrassment, and it does not represent mature adults, leadership, or the people that should be in government at all. And in my opinion, they will continue to lose as a party over and over and over, because people are like, listen, get a grip. Okay, you don't like Trump, but he's here. He's who we have. We should all, as a people, as a body of American citizens, be hoping and praying and supporting the president in office, because his job is to make our lives better, more safe, more prosperous, right? And so if you're constantly hoping that he fails, what does that mean? That means I fail. And that means you fail. I'm disgusted. So let me go back to my little notes. Okay. Trump and Zelensky. Can I talk about that really quick? Did you watch any of that, Paige?
No.
Okay. The Trump and Zelensky. First of all, I'm from Gen Z. Like we were the generation that our parents said, stop crying, I'll give you something to cry about. Like we were tough. We were the first generation of latchkey kids where both parents went off to work and we came home alone. We had to fend for ourselves. Our parents never knew where we were. We were the generation that our parents said, go outside, don't come in till the street lights come on. Like this was the generation that we grew up in. We were tough. We learned how to be independent. So when I watched, and I didn't watch the interview, I only watched clips of it. But when I watched the clips of it, and Trump and Vance getting very vocal and very strong with Zelensky, who clearly has taken advantage of America with the hundreds of billions of dollars that have been sent to him. I mean, this is clear. I think anybody with a brain, yes, I said that. Anybody with a brain can see that we have been taken advantage of as a country. And so when Trump gets stern and the things that he said, I am unfazed. I am unfazed. I am not offended. It doesn't scare me or freak me out, because like grow up, people. I do not want some wish-washy, weak person who is the leader of the free world to be just pushed around by other world leaders. I don't know about you, but I believe in the power of the presidency and his ability to actually stand up for me and the taxes that I pay that are going for something that I didn't vote for, that I didn't agree with. And so sending money to all these different countries, which is another thing that he talked about last night, Paige, the hundreds of billions of dollars that have gone all around the world for the most insane things, that, obviously Doge is taking care of. Okay. Anything else about politics? Anything about politics, Paige, that's going on right now, current?
I don't think so. Did you see the video where he patted the prince of whatever on the shoulder and no one's allowed to touch him?
No.
Of the other country?
No.
I don't know. It was a clip for 30 seconds, but it's
what did the prince do?
It's a rule where it's the prince of, I forget what country it was or who he was meeting with, but you're not allowed, no one is allowed to touch him.
Okay.
And Trump walks by and pats him on the shoulder.
What did he do?
And he just looked at him and was because he didn't know who it was. And then it's Trump, and what are you gonna do? It's Trump, and then he's sitting there.
I like that he's not polished. I like that he's just himself, and that you see the same guy in a room with world leaders as you do in a room with his grandkids. He's the same guy. He's not a politician. He's a businessman, and businessmen, in order to be that successful, you have to have some level of ability to be charismatic and get along with everybody. I know that as an entrepreneur. I work with people that I don't like. Not my staff, not you guys, but in general, people that I don't like, sometimes vendors or outside people. And I'm I would never hang out with them. They're not my kind of person, but you figure out a way to work with people. You have some air of maturity to you, and you have the ability to communicate and work with all people. That's what I think about Trump. He looks at what he's doing with other world leaders, other countries. He looks at it as a business transaction. And let's figure out a way that we can win-win, both of us, because it doesn't have to be a I win, you lose. That's what I love about him. He creates a situation where it's the America feels like they win, and so does the other person. That to me is a brilliant leader. Okay, let's move on. I want to talk a little bit of pop culture. The most recent thing was the Academy Awards. Now, let me just tell you, in my previous life as a stylist and a makeup artist, I watched every single award show because it was absolutely certain that come the Monday that week, all the girls were going to come in and say, I want my hair like this. I want my bangs like this. I loved so-and-so's color. So I felt it was part of my job to stay very, very up on all things pop culture and whatever was going on in the movies and people's hair. Back in the days of Jennifer Aniston on Friends, everybody wanted this haircut, the Friends haircut, right? Every time she got a new haircut, I was doing the new haircut. So I better know what the haircut was or the hairstyle or the updo, whatever. Well, as of about, I don't know, probably 4 years ago, I stopped watching all of the award show. They are so politically motivated. They are so indoctrinating, and I am so over the elitist attitudes of all of these people who are not like me. They don't relate to us. I'm not sure why here's what I believe. I believe that the stars have lost their shine. Would you say that's true for you?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, I didn't watch the award show. I just saw like clips of it, but I saw like people get really opinionated, I feel like, about the award show.
They didn't used to. It just used to be a thing where we watched and we were excited to be entertained by the show and see what movies won or what songs won and what they were wearing and their hair. But now it's become political activism. And listen, I watch people on TV and movies that I probably would never hang out with in real life because I like the art of it and I want to be entertained. Your job is to entertain. Your job is not to come on and try to politically move people, and they have over time. But I feel that this elite class, that they have lost their power and are losing their power to influence. And so I don't watch it anymore. But of course, I see all the clips. And I saw a couple of things on Sunday night during the show that people were like, oh, another political speech. And it's really difficult for me to listen to people that make millions and millions of dollars, live in mansions, have servants to do everything for them, and do not go through the same things that the average American people go through. They don't understand that to buy the organic eggs that I want to buy, it is $14 for a dozen eggs. Actually, I think that was 18. There were 18 eggs, $14 for 18 eggs. They don't care. They don't grocery shop. They have somebody grocery shop for them, their house manager. So it's very difficult for me to listen to the opinions of people that don't do the things that you and I do every single day. They don't have the same struggles. They don't understand. They've forgotten. And I can tell you, when you're making a lot of money, it is very easy to forget because you want to forget the stress and pressure of having to make ends meet every month to get the bills paid. You want to forget the stress and pressure of, oh my gosh, if I don't book this job, it's going to impact, I'm not going to be able to do this for my children. I'm not going to be able to pay this bill. They don't live in that world anymore. That millions and millions and millions of people around the world, that's their daily grind. So to have these elite people who have everything handed to them, such a different life, they hold no political weight for me. They're out of touch. Now, I have a question for you, Paige. Have you happened to have watched or seen any clips of this show with Meghan Markle on Netflix?
Mm-hmm.
It's called With Love from Meghan.
Oh, the cooking one?
Yes, she's
I saw like her Instagram story about it when it was like about to launch, but I
think it's been out for a minute.
Yeah, I haven't watched it.
I haven't watched it either, and I won't watch it because kind of the same idea, this elitist idea. Well, I happened to see a clip. Actually, it was Megyn Kelly who showed a clip of it because Megyn Kelly has talked a lot about Meghan Markle, and she had Mindy Kaling on. Do you know who that is? Mm-hmm. Okay, Mindy Kaling. She was in The Office. She's a brilliant comedian. She's been in a lot of different things. I don't know if they're friends or if Meghan Markle just had her on her show as a guest or not. I don't know any of the details because I have made a conscious choice not to follow those people. But Megyn Kelly showed a clip, so I went and found it as well. So it's kind of like Martha Stewart-ish, the show. She's like showing lifestyle things and trying to seem very relatable, and she's not relatable in any way, shape, or form. And she's very inauthentic. That's the thing that I will say. She, to me, when I watch anything with her, any clips that I've seen of her show, she's acting. It's just a show. This is not her being authentic and being her real self. This is just her acting, playing a role, playing a part. So she has Mindy on, and the clip showed that Mindy Kaling was saying to Meghan something to the effect of, I find it very hard to believe that Meghan Markle eats Jack in the Box. This is what she says to Meghan. And Megan, this is so mean girl. This is so the mean girl that you knew in high school. She goes, "It's so funny that you keep calling me Meghan Markle. My name is Sussex now." Because apparently they changed their name to match the title that was given to them. That's not the actual last name. They were Meghan and Harry, Duchess and Duke of Sussex. That was their title. So I guess she officially changed her last name to be her title. But it's such one of those things where she wanted to correct her, but she did it in the most passive aggressive way to be like, it's so funny that you do that. That is like Mean Girl 101. Mean Girl 101. It's so funny that you are coming to this party knowing that everyone hates you and you're not popular. It's kind of the thing that I got. So I thought I'd throw my 2 cents out there. Like, that is Mean Girl 101. I have nothing to do with it. She's inauthentic, she's phony, and she's completely out of touch. I have a few more things with pop culture. Okay, so The View. Have you ever watched The View?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me give a little background on the show The View. So I am 51 this year, and when I was okay, let me think about this. Savannah, I was 29 when Savannah was born, and she was about 1 year old. So I was 30 years old, and I had the opportunity to audition for The View. Did you know that? Yeah, I had the opportunity to send in a video audition to The View. I had petitioned the executive producers. I sent them VHS videos of me first, and said, this was way back. Barbara Walters was on, and I can't remember the name of the other host, but this was obviously a very long time ago, over 20 years ago. And I said, listen, there's only one point of view on the show, and they're all liberal, and they're all Democrats, and you need another point of view on the show because they're all basically saying the same thing. They're all parroting the same opinion. So I said, you should have me on the show. And I, whatever, gave them a video. Well, they called me and they said, we'd like you to audition for the show. So I auditioned for the show. Anyway, clearly I did not, they did not select me, but they did select, I think the person that they hired after that was Elizabeth. And Elizabeth was a conservative Christian. So they did have another opinion. They've had a lot of other hosts along the way that won. It's always one, the one outnumbered person on that show. Anyway, so I have loosely watched the show over the years. And I have to tell you, what it is today is it's disgusting. And I hope some of the ladies from The View actually get sent this clip. You should be ashamed of yourselves. You are bitter old women, and you disgust me. To be people that are supposed to be on a television show that started off very uplifting. The show in its origination used to talk about pop culture, fashion, movies, TV, of course, politics, and all things. And it was a fun and uplifting show that shared a bunch of people's point of view, right? The View. Let's share our point of view on the show. And what it has devolved into is some very bitter and ugly. And I'm not talking about visually. I'm talking about ugly from the inside. And what I believe for me is that God has given me the ability to actually see behind people's actual outer look. And when I look at them, I can see their countenance. Do you remember the movie? It's with Jack Black. What was it called? It was called.
Oh, where he's like blind and he sees like the girl up there on the inside.
What was that one called?
I just watched it. Oh, I need to look it up.
Okay, look it up. But he met Anthony Robbins in an elevator, and he basically kind of did a little hocus pocus on him, and he kind of hypnotized him in a way to actually see people for who they really were.
Shallow Hal.
Shallow Hal. That's exactly what it was. Shallow Hal. So in the movie, he does this little hypnotization kind of mind trick on him, and Hal, the main character of the movie, Jack Black, he actually begins to see people for what they look like on the inside, on the outside, right? So he falls in love with, it's Gwyneth Paltrow, and she's beautiful, and he's like, how does this beautiful woman love me? I'm like, scruffy guy, Jack Black. Well, I believe that's true. I believe that's true. I believe I actually have that gifting to see in the spirit of people. And when I watch the women on The View, I see disgusting. I see hatred. I see they look decrepit to me. And it's a thing. Have you heard of demon face syndrome? Okay, this is a real thing. I'm going to actually do a whole segment on demon face syndromes. It's a thing that is a medical condition where people look into people's faces and they see demons in their face. Well, I don't think it's a medical. I don't think it's a medical condition. I think it is a spiritual condition. I think it is people who, like, the veil is thin for them, and they actually see into the spirit when people have like a demonic hold, a demonic bondage on them. That is what I see when I look at The View. These are bitter, old, rich women who are so filled with hate, and they've been so brainwashed with this ideology, this liberal ideology. And I don't even know why that show is still in existence, other than the fact that it gives us something to talk about and something to show people, look, this is the result. This is the result of what happens when you close your mind so much and you're so indoctrinated into one way of living and one belief system that you can't have normal conversations, and you live every day to bring hate to the world. So you are all disgusting, and a big motivator for me for why I finally decided to sit down and do my own show, sharing my point of view. That's a big motivator. So The View, I'm done with you guys. You're an embarrassment. You are not a representation of women to me. You are not representation of leaders, of influencers, and of intelligence or entertainment. You are the actual opposite of that. And I feel bad for anybody that actually watches you still in the trance. Okay, I'm almost done with pop culture. White Lotus, are you watching it? Okay, we got to get you caught up on some of this stuff. Been watching White Lotus. It's season 3 is out right now. It's a very interesting kind of dark comedy show. Like, it's definitely dark comedy. And so the most recent episode, in this one, there are 3 women: Michelle Monaghan and Leslie Mann, and I don't remember the other girl's name, but they're sitting down and they're having dinner. And Michelle Monaghan's like a movie star in it. And they go away to this retreat in Thailand, and they're all just hanging out, girls' weekend, girls' retreat. And so they're all talking, they're having dinner, and they begin to get into a conversation about one of the girls that lives in Texas. And so the other 2 friends are basically like, "Ooh, is that hard for you to live in Texas?" And she's like, "No, why?" And they say, "Well, because it's so, Republican." And she started talking about her church, and they were like, "Ooh, is that weird? Do you have any friends?" Like, kind of mocking the fact that she lives in what is known to be like red country, right? Republican country, conservative country. She goes to a church. Ooh, how can you be friends with the church people? And she's like, "No, they're great. These are great people. we have a great time." And then they kind of look at her like, "Wait a second." And one asks her, "Are you a Republican?" With shock and disgust on her face. And she goes, "No, no, but my husband is." She goes, "I'm an independent." Clearly afraid to actually share what she really believes with these 2 people that are supposed to be her best friends. And the look of shock and awe and disgust on them. Anyway, this was brilliantly written, this one scene. I've seen people talk about it. And what the average person, what the average like liberally indoctrinated person is going to see when they watch this is, "Oh, look, he's making fun of the Republican." I have a whole different take. I think he's making fun of the Democrats and how absolutely absurd it is to cut people out of your life, to talk about them and judge them for their belief system, especially if you are in the entertainment world or you are in the Hollywood world, which the one is. Like it is against the rules. You certainly cannot have a belief system that is outside of this liberal ideology. And I'm excited to see where it goes. But if you haven't watched it, go check it out, and maybe have a different take on it, because when I watched it, and I try to be unbiased and see like what are people that are liberally indoctrinated thinking, and what are people that are Republican, like conservative indoctrinated thinking. And he's clearly making fun of everybody in it, but it really actually looks really bad on the liberal side. So you have to watch it.
I know. I have a list of things I need to watch.
HBO. It's on HBO Max. There's 3 seasons and it's being played right now. Anyway, very, very well. I think Mike White wrote it. Very, very well written. Very good. So I want to just tell you a little bit about what this show is going to be. POV, point of view. It's going to be my point of view, and then the point of view of any guest that I do end up having on the show. And I plan on having a lot of shows. You've been hearing Paige in the background. She's the producer of the show. She is young and brilliant and talented, and she's going to be sitting in the chair over here sharing her thoughts with things, and it'll be her point of view on things. And, we have devolved as a society where we can't have intelligent conversations with people, and we get mad and we get angry when people have a different opinion than we do. And can we get back to just being people that can agree to disagree? We don't have to 100% agree with everything. Do you like sushi, Paige?
No.
Well, then we can't. I'm sorry. You can no longer be the producer of the show, and we're not going to be able to work together. Sushi is so great. I have so passionate about how delicious it is that if you don't like sushi, we're over. That's how stupid it is. That is how dumb it is. And I believe that's a design of the enemy, to do everything he can to separate people, to create division and separation at all costs. And politics is a very, very easy one to do it with. So on this show, I'm going to share my point of view. I am a Gen Xer. I am a woman. I'm an entrepreneur. I am a mom. I am an insane follower of Jesus, and I am not religious. And I will tell you that my points of view are going to trigger everybody. I'm going to trigger all sides. It's not going to be it's not going to be one side. I'm going to trigger those that live in religious bondage, those people that are stuck in legalism and the laws of religion. You are not going to like me, but I am sent here to help you because that is a division that is happening in the world. That is not what Jesus came to do. So I will be talking about that. I'll be talking about my faith. I will be talking about things that are important to me. And then when I have guests on, we'll be talking about things that are important to you. I am absolutely 100% against religion. How can you be against religion and be 100% about Jesus? Because Jesus was against religion. Have you read anything about him? I have. I have studied him, and I want to follow him, and I want to be more like him. And he was against the religious elites. He was a rebel. He purposely did things that he knew was going to trigger them as the Son of God walking on earth. So I am absolutely not about religion. I think religion indoctrinates. I think religion divides. And religion puts people in an elitist position. It's like we are the religious people that go to this church, and then everybody else is a them. And that is not what Jesus came to do. So I'm going to have a lot of conversations. And over the last couple of years, I used to be a lot more bold. And over the last couple of years of starting my company and being a boldly Christ-centered company, a kingdom-focused company, my voice has slowly gotten turned down, down, down because of the attacks that have come on me because I used a certain word. Matter of fact, Paige, you're going to think this is crazy before you came on board. I talked about sovereignty, financial sovereignty in a video, and I got so much hate because I used that word. I even had people send me videos of Satanists and how they use the word sovereignty, and I must be against Jesus. I must be, what was the word? Somebody told me that I was involved in witchcraft. They told me that they had all these religious-y terms for all the things that were wrong with me because I used that word or I exercised a certain way or whatever. And so over the last couple of years, little by little, I have toned down who I am and my message. And little by little, it has eaten away at my soul. And so this show, I'm going to be all me, and it's going to trigger people. And some people are going to like me, and some people are going to hate me, and that's okay. I'm going to bring truth as I see it. I'm going to bring my point of view, and I hope that you'll come along with me. There is nothing religious about me. If you want to be on this side of, I even hate to say Christianity because it just brings with it that whole connotation. But if you want to learn about Jesus from this side, then you're going to want to follow me. So I'm going to talk a lot about him because Jesus cares more about people than the rules. He did then and he does now. So if that interests you, you're going to love it. I built my business around faith because I have a desire to help people grow. I want them to grow personally. I want them to grow professionally. I want them to grow in their walk with the Lord. And I want to help them grow their finances. This is the premise behind what I've done. And oh my goodness, the religious people hate it when you talk about money. Boy, do they hate it. Unless, of course, you're a like prosperity pastor, then they like it. But everybody else hates it because the Bible says that money is evil. Money is the root of all evil. No, I don't know. Actually, the Bible says that the love of money is the root of all evil. But you know what else the Bible says? That a wise man leaves an inheritance for his children. So what's the inheritance then? If money is evil, what are we supposed to leave? A stack of bills? What's this inheritance you speak of in the Bible? Oh, King Solomon. What are we supposed to leave if it is not money? So I am free. I walk in freedom. I have no religious bondage on me. I am not worried about what people think of me. I certainly wouldn't be doing the show if I wasn't prepared to get the opinions of all the word police out there, especially the Christians. And this is the thing that I have to say to you. The Christians can be the most hate-filled group of all. And that makes me sad because you're giving the God that I love a really bad name. And those people that are out there seeking and searching and wondering and maybe praying, God, if you're really out there, and they hear the voice of God, and then they watch you filled with hate on a street corner, on your social media, in a side conversation as you're sitting at a Starbucks or at a restaurant, and you are giving Jesus a bad name with your hate. So I'm not about that. And I'm going to talk about things that really trigger Christians over the course of this show. I will never lie to you. I might make mistakes, but I'll always fess up to them if I made a mistake. And you, I'm certain, will be quick to point out my mistakes. That is one thing that keyboard warriors are good at. They are really good at pointing out any mistake that you make or that they think that you make. But I will always be authentic and truthful with you, and I will be bold, and I'm going to be myself. And I hope you will come along for the ride. And I hope you'll share some of this with other people. I'm an entrepreneur, and being an entrepreneur has taught me more about faith than almost anything else. That and being a mother has taught me a ton. And I'm going to share all those things with you over time. And way too many people, I think, call themselves Christians but don't represent me. Just like I felt like the government didn't represent me for years, all the money that we were paying in taxes and fees. And by the way, we live in California. So talk about taxation without representation. Like, this is what we live in. And so for those of you that, oh, you live in California, let me just tell you this. California is the land of milk and honey. I love it here. I was born and raised here, and I think it is an unbelievably beautiful part of the world. And I have unbelievable amounts of hope for the state of California, that we can get the demonic people that are at the helm of this country out and get some really, really good leadership in this country. And so we're holding tight. There's a whole group of us here in California that are believing and praying for this land that we love here on the western side of the United States. Okay, so hold on. I took notes. Like, I was a good student. Let me just say this to get back into the religious thing right now. And some of the pastors that actually make people feel bad about wanting to build wealth, they're some of the wealthiest people. They are wealthy, but don't you want to grow wealth? But make sure that you give money to the church. Like, I'm so against that. These are the ones that have the sexual impropriety. They do things that are inappropriate with people in their congregation. Like, let's just get real. We have elevated people too high. We have too high of an expectation of some people, and then we have too low of an expectation of other people. They're just people, right? We're going to make mistakes. I'm going to make mistakes. Okay, fashion and beauty. So since my background, standing behind the chair as a stylist and a makeup artist for 10 years, since that's my background, I'm absolutely going to be talking about fashion, beauty, health, and all of these things that I love. I love products. I'm a total product junkie. In another life, if we had social media like we have now, when I was standing behind the chair, I would have crushed that. I would have totally been an influencer in the beauty world because that was my world for so long. And even though that's not what I do for a profession, I stay as current as I can on all the trends with hair, with products, with makeup, with nutrition. I'm going to talk about eyelashes. I'm obsessed with eyelashes. And here, I'm going to do a whole talk page. I'm going to do a whole talk about center parts. I got a problem with center parts with anybody over the age of 35. No, you're in the age group. But everybody over the age of 35, like, you've missed your window. And I'm going to do a whole talk about it. I'm going to do a whole talk there. Like, you're not 20 anymore. It doesn't look good. Can I just be honest? It doesn't look good on like 98% of you that are wearing side parts over the age of, but then we'll get back to that. I love health and fitness. That is a huge part of my life. I do it for my mental health more than I do for my physical health. I hear from Jesus when I work out every time. That's my church. I'm listening to podcasts or sermons or music, and this is when Jesus speaks to me. I love health and fitness. I think that if you want to change your life, then that is the starting point. You can change your life by taking control over your nutrition, over your body. And my gosh, so many things will just happen almost automatically after that, because it is hard to have a miserable life when you are creating endorphins every day. It really is. It's hard to be miserable when you start your day off like that. Okay. Oh, I'm going to have Jacob Sonnet come on here. He has been my number one television and movie critic for decades. Have you ever heard of him? Probably not. Do you want to know why? It's my son. So my son he should have been a movie critic. He always knows what is new in pop culture when it comes to music, movies, television. He has been giving us recommendations for years, and we always go, "Oh, I don't know. That doesn't sound good. Doesn't look good." He's been 100% right. So I've enrolled him. I have talked him into coming on the show and sharing like his recommendations and picks for all things movie and TV. I'm excited about that. And you will be too, because he's going to give you some great things. Because let's be real, I love to binge. Now, pre-COVID, maybe you were like me. When I would pick a show, I would just pick it based kind of on the premise. Like, oh, that looks like an interesting show. Here's how we pick now. We look at the show and we say, oh, it's only got one season. Ooh, no. We need at least 4 seasons so that we can really get our binge on. We love to binge. And it has kind of changed the face of television, of entertainment, knowing that you can dive deep into a show and really get to know these characters. That's why we're obsessed with it. So we're going to have Jacob on. I'm excited about that. And a lot of other guests. I have people that I've reached out to that I just want to have a conversation with because I think they're interesting. We're going to have a page. It's going to be regular. She's going to be producing the show. So you will hear her sometimes and you will see her sometimes, but she will be in every show, every single show. I'm going to have my partner, my business partner, my husband, Bobby, on the show. And those are going to be fun because we are so different. We might even fight. I mean, I don't know. It's going to be real. We're going to be real about it, and a variety of other people. So I hope that you will stick with us. I hope that you will share this. And I hope we can have some really wonderful conversations between you and I. And I really hope that I can maybe crack open some things for you that have kept you locked up. Because as human beings that are on the planet together in this generation, I think we need to be encouraging each other. I think we should be setting each other up for success, speaking life into each other. I believe that what you focus on, you get more of. And I am looking to see a world filled with more love, with more growth, with more generosity, with more abundance, with more peace, and with more joy. And the only way that my way of participating in that is to bring that to you through the show. So I hope that you will stick around with us. And thank you so much for being here today. Until next time.